With You Now coming to an end, over the course of the 5-season run, we've seen Joe finding himself every single time being obsessed with somebody new, a relationship forming, and then many of them ending up perishing. With each love interest being slightly different when it came to being in a relationship with Joe, ranging from Louise in the most recent season to Beck, Love, Kate, Candace, and others when going all the way back to the beginning of the show. I thought it would be worth taking a look at all of them and seeing which one has been the worst and which one has been the best in terms of chemistry and also performance. So let's get into it. Here is Joe Goldberg's love interests in You ranked. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Candace. Coming in last place is Candace. Although we never really got to see her as Joe's on-screen love interest as part of the developing plot. And when we did see them together, it was only really in the form of flashbacks. This character definitely proved to be one of the most annoying out of them all. Yes, even more annoying than Louise. I feel this is because in season 2 of the show, we as viewers were still charmed by Joe's kind side, and we were letting the horrible things that he'd done be pushed to the side, because that was the point of the show back then. Joe to try to kill her, after all, so it makes sense as to why she wanted to seek revenge and take Joe down, pitting her as the villain to Joe being the protagonist at that point. I would say, though, when it comes to all of the other love interests that Joe has had, she just didn't quite make an impact like the rest of them. Maybe that's down to the screen time and the framing of the character's position when it came to Joe, but I think she sits right at the bottom of this ranking. I don't think there was actually one thing that I liked about the character. Louise. In 5th place, we've got the most recent love interest from season 5, which is Louise, also known as Bronte. This is the love interest that brought Joe down and caused him to finally have his comeuppance and meet his maker. The thing that's most frustrating about her is the fact that she never truly felt like she was Joe's You, and that's how she was being pitched to us. Joe's one true love. She was the individual that Joe became infatuated with, and was what caused him to slip up and become complacent, ultimately changing the way that the character had been over the years. In reality, she never really felt that well suited to him. The reason she's above Candace is because we actually got to see the both of them truly together and in some kind of relationship. Whereas with Candace, she was trying to take him down, or it was just flashbacks when they were together. So, sadly, Louise is cemented towards the bottom, which is a shame because she was the final love interest that we ever got in the show. When compared to the original love interests, there's just no competing. Kate. In 4th place on this list, we have Kate Catherine Lockwood. When Kate first arrived on screen in season 4, I found there was something that just didn't quite click, and she didn't quite compare to the likes of Love, Beck, and Marianne. I think a lot of that came down to her personality. However, I would say in season 5, the character did grow on me. In the early parts of the season, the chemistry was there, and as the episodes went on and she looked to bring Joe down, there was something that we could actually get behind. Originally, her personality was quite bland, and she was very standoffish and confrontational to a lot of the characters in the show, and even to Joe when he was trying to get close to her. To me, it just kind of felt as though she was one of the weakest out of them all in terms of attraction on Joe's side, especially in season 4. They didn't have much romance or spark, and in the early parts of season 5, that spark that they did have went out very quickly. She did grow on me over the course of season 5. So that did redeem the character just a little bit. Marianne. In 3rd place, we've got Marianne. This is a character that was good in her initial debut season, but upon her return in season 4, and even her brief appearance in season 5, I think she topped her initial performance. I like the story that Joe had with Marianne in season 3 for a couple of different reasons. Joe felt as though he was genuinely in love with her, but it was difficult for him because he was with Love at the time. So it was somebody that he couldn't just go out and get and publicly be with like all of the other times that we'd seen Joe up until that point. Marianne was a character that, out of all of them, was the most similar to Beck. She was a lot kinder and more caring than Love, Candace, and Kate ever were, and I think that's what I really liked about her. She seemed like a kind individual that genuinely cared for Joe, and when she realized that he was a deranged maniac, she tried to escape, which she did do, until Joe got her in season 4. Her return in season 5 delivered arguably one of the most powerful and most important moments in the entirety of the show, when she was speaking with Louise. It was just perfect. Toddy Gabrielle delivered this character so well, and she's 100% one of the more likable characters in the entirety of the show. Beck. Second place on this list is the love interest that kick-started the entirety of the show and haunted Joe right up until the end, and that's Guinevere Beck. Beck felt extremely well fleshed out, and they wrote her in a way that allowed her character to be a one-season wonder, as if to imply that if the show wasn't going to ever return, the character Beck was well-rounded, written, and performed, leaving no stones unturned. So, if in traditional modern-day television fashion, the show didn't get renewed, the story would have ended in an interesting way. Beck was relatable and somebody that you felt as though you wanted to succeed. The pain that was in her eyes when she was captured in Joe's cage during the finale was something that stuck with me a lot, and I can envision it in my mind even now. She also put up one of the best fights against Joe with the key from the typewriter. That entire scene was so well performed, and then for her to be killed while being on the verge of being freed by Paco, it was horrifically heartbreaking. One thing that also separates her from the likes of Kate and Candace is the fact that she actually felt quite likable and that she stood for the good in people. Kind of like Louise, her hunger to find out what happened to Candace was something that was ever present. Like Nadia was in Season 4 and Louise in Season 5, she wanted to find out all of the information that she possibly could. I also feel as though Beck and Joe had a strong connection in the early parts of the show. Their attraction was present, and it felt as though they bounced off of each other in a way that felt natural with dialogue. It felt genuine. She's probably the person that Joe was the most infatuated with, so she's cemented as number 2 on this ranking. Love Quinn. In first place, the love interest that steals the show, and I feel held her own on screen alongside Joe the best, is none other than the legend and female version of Joe, Love Quinn. With Love, Victoria Pedretti gave so much to this role, and she created a character that was Joe's equal and a villain that even he was disgusted by. The range of emotions that Love emitted toward Joe was just incredible to watch, from the happy, friendly, flirty, and loving version in early Season 2 to the completely shocked version at the end of Season 2, and then the murderous one that we got at the end of Season 3. Love is art, and she perfected that character perfectly. I feel she was the only one out of them all that was able to give as good as she got when it came to Joe. If he was cheating, then she was. And if he was killing, then she was as well. It was a twisted love story that needed Victoria Pedretti's character to be present within it. Love's performance was just above the rest. And while it's easy to say that she had more screen time than the others, because she was present across the entirety of 2 seasons, if you take Season 2 on its own, her performance was still far stronger than the others. Love was, and still is, the best love interest that Joe has ever had. And that never changed. All 6 of the love interests in the show definitely held their own in the seasons that they were in, but I'd say that since Season 2 of the show, where Love was introduced, there has been a small and gradual drop-off. It picked up slightly with Marianne, but she was the last interesting one that was in the show. Louise is definitely the worst in recent times. It was Kate, but with the screen time in Season 5, that changed. However, as the show is now drawn to a close, it concluded with Love Quinn most definitely being the best love interest that Joe has ever had. And I think that just feels right. Outro. Joe Goldberg's love interests in You, ranked. If you want to see how I feel you Season 5 should have actually ended, I had to go at writing it myself, so I've put that video below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Who do you think the best love interest in You was? Share your thoughts in the comments below.